So today from Motorhome Depot in Inverness, we've got for you a Carthago Chic. Very special, this van. Alarm system is activated and you'll hear it click, and when you open up onto the passenger door, you will get your step come out. Pop in on that one, and that's your access for your diesel filler. Firm press on that to get that back in. We'll make our way down this side of the vehicle first off, and when you open up into this double floor space, you've got access to your leisure battery. The leisure batteries have an isolator switch on, so if the van is being stored for more than a couple of weeks or so, the recommendation is that the switch is turned through 90 degrees to isolate it. You've also got the solar panel controller in there, and if you're working into the garage space into the evening, then you've got the option of an underfloor lighting area as well to illuminate that space. There's other ways of getting into that hatch space that are inside the vehicle, which we'll talk about later on. Fitted onto this Carthago are two gas-low refillable cylinders. At the moment we're running one cylinder, and you can see the indicator mark shown on there, so the tank is about half full. You have the option of switching over to the adjacent one, and then a fill point down here for refilling the cylinders. It's fitted with a crash sensor. In the event of you going over a bump or being involved in a collision, this yellow tab may pop out. To reset it, you push back in, and it will allow the gas flow then to continue through the rest of the vehicle. Both the freshwater and wastewater tanks are in between the floor sections of the van, so your fill point for your fresh water is there. There is an accessible hatch you can get into for cleaning or adding solutions perhaps, or retrieving items. It's one of two hatchways. So if you lift up on that one and open up onto the blue, then you can get access into that part of the freshwater tank. There's a service hatch on the opposite side of the garage, and that enables you then to get into your mains RCD unit and to the battery charger. At the moment though, we are running on the external main supply, which is coming in from a site hookup. You can test that main supply by pushing in on this small orange switch, and that's shutting off the supply like so. Push it back over and that restores that unit. You've got individual fuses which are outlined in the handbook, and they're connected up to things like your interior lights, your water pumps, igniters, etc. that operate within the vehicle. For the awning to operate, you need to put the T up into the slot and then wind the awning out. Make sure that the habitation door is shut, because there's a likelihood that the pelmet will snag or catch the top of that door. It's just started to rain with us, so what we will do is just bring the leg down just here, so extend it out, sorry, and then drop the leg down to the floor and then secure it and latch it off like so. These are sunshades. In wet or windy conditions, they need to be put away. They're not designed for those kinds of conditions. Let's pop the leg back up into there. And before the rain gets any heavier, we'll wind it back in. Mains hookup. When you're connecting up to the main supply, always connect up to the side of the van first of all, and then to the power point supply that you're going to be using. Further along we have your toilet cassette, so pushing onto the buttons. The flush water on these vans comes directly from the main inboard freshwater tanks. There's no separate reservoirs for you to worry about. To empty the cassette, make sure that the lever's shut properly inside. You should be able to draw the body of the cassette all the way out, like so. On a campsite, you have collection points for these to go into. You'll notice a little plug fell out the bottom, because this has also got a ventilation fan fitted to it as well. Before you load this back in, you've got the option of using chemicals, so a capful of chemical mixed with about 2 litres of water. Alternatively, you can use it chemical free. So before we reconnect and push the whole cassette back in, I'm going to draw this down and push that pipe back into here, and each time you flush the toilet you'll hear a fan engage, and the idea is it's drawing the smells, it's drawing the odours off of the toilet cassette, thus you can use it chemical free. Ventilation for the fridge as well as ventilation for the water heating room heating system. Another access locker going in underneath the body of the van, and final access locker going in underneath the seating area towards the front. When you come inside the van, you've got this control panel above the caravan door. Simple operation, press in and hold in on for a couple of seconds and that will activate the leisure battery. Select your 12 volt and that will enable you to get access to the supplies, and then you can turn on individual lights, water pumps, the supply for the TV and for the media system, and then you've got indicators at the bottom giving you condition of your leisure battery, your vehicle battery, water level indicators, and the ability to adjust the brightness of the control panel. Indicators here will illuminate, showing you the condition of your grey water supply. There are internal valves for draining off those systems. You've got a cavity hatch just inside the step door, and this gives you access to your fresh water, hot water and grey water drain valves. The large one on this side is for the wastewater. Crank that valve through and it allows the content of the grey water tank to come out of an outlet that is located near the rear of the vehicle. Adjacent to that, you've got a thermostatic control valve for the water heating system. At the moment, we've got the water heater set up, so we've got this valve here running in line with the white pipe behind it. If we rotate this manually, then we cause the water heater to drain out. But in the event of the air temperature in this space going below 2 degrees centigrade, then that valve will automatically open. The reset, as you've just seen, we'll run over that one again. Turn it back through 90 degrees and push in on that tab, and that should close that valve. You'll then need to turn the hot water taps on in the kitchen to draw the water supply through from the fresh water tank through the water heater. If the tank's been completely empty, that might take a couple of minutes. An additional protection that Carthago put in is you've got this valve here as well, and this enables you to actually drain off the plumbing services within the van also. So by leaving the interior taps open in the vanity unit, on the shower and on the kitchen, and having this valve open, then you're then draining those pipes down as well. Further back, adjacent to the shower, you've got your access hatches to the fresh water tank and to the grey water tank. On the right hand side of the grey water, you've also got this little wheel, and by rotating this wheel approximately 2 times, it opens up a drain valve which allows the content of the freshwater tank to drain out. Again, solvents and cleaners can be put into either tank for sterilising purposes or for flushing out the tanks. Your heating controls are located up next to the 12 volt system. Press and hold firmly in on this center button, and you're then able to choose the different functions that you want to utilize. So we'll start off with the room heating system. You can see that's indicated by the thermometer inside the vehicle. Press and hold in on that one, and you'll take it from an off position through to a maximum temperature setting of 30 degrees centigrade. Select that by pushing in firmly. This will go back to flashing, and if the top flame begins to flash, then it indicates that the heating system has engaged and it's starting to warm the vehicle up. Today the interior temperature of this van is probably in excess of 30 degrees centigrade, so I'm not expecting to see that flash at this moment in time. To cancel that system, pressing on it again and reduce the temperature back down to the off, and then select again, and that cancels out your room heating. Move the controller over 1 dot to the water symbol, and again selecting on that one, and you can raise the water temperature from 40 degrees up to a maximum of 50 degrees, or boost between the two sections. Again, when you select on those and you see this top one begin to flash, then it's an indication then that the water is now heating up. Once it becomes solid, as it is at the moment, then it suggests that the water temperature has been established. You've got two sources of energy that you can utilize. So we'll go on to these symbols here. And at the moment, we've got it in the mix 2 mode, which means we're drawing both electric and gas simultaneously. You can reduce it so that there is a lower level of electrical supply being drawn when you're using gas. There are gas only mode. You might use that if you were wild camping, if you're not able to connect up to the grid. Or alternatively, there are pure electric modes, a low wattage and a high wattage one, depending on the mains output from the site post that you're utilising. We'll leave it in the gas mode for a moment and return on that one. The circulation fan, if the heating system is on, you can increase the speed of the fan. Alternatively, if all of the heating is off, that includes the hot water as well, you can use this as a circulation fan. However, you've got a more efficient air conditioning unit that will probably work far better. There's an option within this to use a timer setting, so you can set these up with a primary system, and that will enable you then to control and set times for the water heating, perhaps the room heating system, to come on and off. To shut the whole system down, press and select the central button again, and eventually you'll get a display that comes up as off, and the system will begin to shut down. There's a GOC gas control valve here. At the moment it's in the center off position. If you move it down to the summer mode, it'll indicate that you've got a gas supply that's available for you to come through and use. If you move it up to the top, green light stays on, indicating you've still got gas supply, but there is now a heater element to the regulator to stop that gas supply freezing before it gets out of the gas locker and up to the rest of the van. Open up the kitchen drawer and you've got isolator taps for the individual gas appliances around the van. So we've got the cooker, the hob, the fridge, and for the water heating, room heating system. General rule, if you turn off the gas supply at the bottle, then that obviously makes things safe. But if you're worried about supplies coming through on individual appliances, then you can isolate them accordingly. The gas hob has igniters built into it, so hold it in for a couple of seconds to draw your gas through, like so. The glass lids do not have isolators on them, so you need to make sure that the device is switched off and cooled before you draw it down, otherwise the glass will explode if the gas has been left on. You've got a gas grill and oven as well, so turn it through clockwise and that will engage your gas grill. Turn it anti-clockwise and that will engage your oven. Dometic three-way fridge. At the moment we've got it connected up to exclusively onto the mains supply. You can use the mode button to change between the different functions. Auto mode, it will self-select what it thinks is the strongest supply available. So at the moment it knows that we're plugged into the mains and that's where it's going to go to. We can override that. We can choose the vehicle battery. However, the vehicle battery will not work unless the ignition is on, and all the vehicle battery will do is maintain the temperature within the fridge, working on the assumption that you've already chilled the fridge via gas or mains. Gas mode should automatically ignite if the blue light comes on and it remains constant and there's no further indication than it has lit on gas. If you hear the chirping sound like you heard with the battery mode just now, then it will suggest that the gas flow is not coming through. Thermostat you can use to adjust the temperature within the fridge. The more of those lights that are illuminated, the colder the fridge will become. And to turn the appliance off, press and hold in on this button on the end and the whole panel will go dark. It's a double door function, so you can open the door from this side and you can open the door from the other side, and it's a similar story with the freezer as well. It has a double door function on it as well. There's a ceiling powered mains air conditioning unit. Very simple to use. It has a remote control. You're aiming for the LED point just up here. So when you turn on the device, it will engage your air conditioning. Choose your temperature settings by increasing or decreasing on that output. There are different modes that you can put it into. So there's an auto mode that you can set it so it will regulate the vehicle temperature at that setting. You can turn off the air conditioning and just use it as a recirculating fan. So the main feature of this Mercedes cab is the fact that it has a push button start. To start the vehicle, you do need to make sure that the keys are located in this vicinity. If they're elsewhere within the vehicle, then the key system won't register. With your foot on the brake clutch pedal, you should be able to start the vehicle straight up. Automatically, you will get your reversing camera image come up on here. You'll notice the absence of any kind of gear leader for the automatic. This is because it's done from this stalk control here. To put it into drive mode, you push down on the stalk and you'll see the display change to D and then pull away. Neutral is located centrally and reverse in the adjacent position. On the end of the stalk, there is a push button. If you press in on that push button, it activates the park and it will also activate the parking brake. To release the parking brake, put the vehicle into drive and pull forward on this button and it will return the control back to the brake pedal at your feet. So that concludes this short handover for this Carthago. Sincerely hope that you're going to enjoy this vehicle. As always, Katrina and myself are available on the end of the line to answer any questions that you might have. On behalf of Motorhome Depot, hope you enjoy the van.